日本時間4月8日、米国時間4月7日、ロサンゼルス、ドジャースはトロント、ブルージェイズと対戦。注目は大谷翔平と山本由伸、日本人コンビの躍動だった。試合は初回から動いた。大谷翔平が鋭い打球で先制の敵地打を放ち、打線に勢いをもたらす。前日の14得点の流れを引き継ぎ、ドジャース打線は引き続き高い破壊力を示した。一方、先発の山本由伸は初回に3者連続三振を奪う圧巻の立ち上がり、スプリットとスライダーで空振りを量産し、その実力を改めて証明した。序盤戦ではやや本来のキレを欠く場面も指摘されているが、ロバーツ監督は、偉大な投手は常に完璧を追い求める、と信頼を寄せる。試合中継では解説陣が山本の直球の制球力の重要性を強調。速球が決まれば全ての球種が生きる、と分析した。また、大谷の存在感は依然として絶対的であり、相手投手にとって試合の入りから大きなプレッシャーとなる。攻守両面で主導権を握るドジャースは、今季も MLB 屈指の戦力を誇る。番組ではこの後、ロバーツ監督のコメントや試合ハイライトを、日本人コンビの活躍が詳しく紹介される。ぜひ最後までご覧いただきたい。
All right, well, Dave, just with Yoshinobu, I mean, obviously, when you look at the first two starts this season, it seems like he's in a good position, but he's not kind of reached where he really likes to be. Is that what you've been seeing from him when it comes to how the stuff is playing at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think first one really good, second one just not as crisp and sharp. Yeah, I mean, I think with the great ones, they're always kind of searching for perfection, which is hard to attain, but you know, you can always bet on him. I think that getting back here, I think he's excited to get on the mound again, and expect to see a good one tonight.
I know we've talked about how you never see a starter who obviously takes a game in the World Series in Game 6 and comes out of the bullpen in Game 7. But what did you just specifically learn about Yoshinobu, how he takes care of his body, how he shows up for his team, and how he was able to perform and do that in 3 games in the World Series?
Yeah, and I think you can add to that Game 3 when he got loose and was hot and didn't come into the game. I think that, you know, he's a guy that will do whatever it takes, you know, to help his team win. And I was thinking about this about a week ago. He's won an Olympic gold medal, right? I think he's won a medal in the Olympics. He's won a couple WBCs. He's won a couple World Series championships. He's won the Cy Young, you know, the best pitcher in Japan. So it's like, this guy's a winner. And he's shown that he'll do anything, he'll do whatever it takes to win. And so that's part of his DNA.
For all that success, he doesn't lift weights. He said yesterday that some players are starting to ask him about his routine. Do you feel like some pitchers now may look at what he's done and maybe scale back on the weights?
Yeah, I think that they should. You know, he's got a different body type. His body moves different than, let's just say, Emmett Sheehan. But, you know, I don't think the, you know, Western world of sports, we've got it nailed as far as on the pitching because there's been so many injuries. So there's a lot of ways to, you know, sort of prepare. And he's obviously found what works for him. But any smart athlete, baseball player should ask Yoshi what he does and why, and see if it fits.
Yamamoto obviously gained a lot of respect from his teammates in 24 for what he did, but is there anything, another level of that he's maybe touched into with what he did last year in October?
Well, I think that it last year took him to another level. I think that, you know, what he did in 24 is great performance, but that's been done many times over in the postseason. But what he did last year, you're talking about in modern day baseball, it's a small number, very small number. So I think that right there put him in a different class.
Dave, last year, early in the season, you were kind of pitching him mostly like on 6 days rest for a while. Now he's been going like on 5. What kind of told you, okay, he's kind of built up the strength to pitch on this schedule?
I think it's more of, you know, we're very sensitive to what their routine Japanese pitchers have been used to and trying to slowly try to get them acclimated to, you know, less rest. And there's really never been a pitcher that we've had that said that they need the 1 week they've all kind of clamored to pitch more frequently, to their credit. I think it's just more of feeling like, 1.5 years of time here in the States gave us the confidence to kind of start to shorten him up. And then now you kind of go into his third season. We feel very comfortable now.
Last year, most of his starts were kind of, a lot of them in the regular season were kind of 6-ish. I think he finished with like 100-something, 70 innings, I think, and 30 starts. The average is a little under 6. Can he be like a 7-inning type of guy over the course of a season, you think?
I think so. I think for me, I purposefully took him out of a lot of games where he had 6 innings. And I could have pushed him, and I don't know how it would have played out, but there's a lot of intentionality to kind of banking what you have with him. But could he be? I don't see why he couldn't. I think he would certainly argue that I've probably taken him out too soon at times.
200 innings this year. I know you guys, that's not necessarily, again, the priorities for the regular season, the postseason, all that, but 200 innings, you think possible?
It's certainly possible, but I'm just not going to manage to get him to reach a certain milestone. How he's pitching in a certain game to then go to the next game and how it looks, and that's kind of how I do it. But to your question, it's possible, certainly.
Yoshi finished the Fall Classic with 3 wins, made 2 starts, that Game 7 relief appearance, the ERA just over 1, 0.68 whip, and in 17 2/3 innings, he had 15 strikeouts, only 2 walks, and opponents hit a $169 against him. And now tonight, Yamamoto making his 3rd start of this season. He's 1-1. The ERA is 3. He hasn't generated maybe the same swing and miss at the rate we saw last year, but Nomar, it is very early. What will you be looking for from Yoshi in this game tonight?
Oh, well, for him, I think it's more the fastball. Yeah, that you talk about the swing and miss. We know he has great split finger, but everything just feeds off the fastball. When he's dotting that fastball, all the other pitches are even more devastating because he really forces the hitters have to either hone in one small part because the other places you just can't hit, or you end up looking everywhere and just praying as a hitter, because when he's hitting the fastball, you know if he's going to go up, down, outside, inside. He really has that going, and then the split finger and the breaking pitches, you just get the swing and miss.
Yeah, Oral touched on it. You got to have that fastball command. Nomar really kind of elaborated on it as well. That fastball command, especially in and out at the knees, sets up that split. That's why he gets a swing and miss. He's got to be able to have that fastball command. The first couple starts, kind of hit and miss with that fastball command. Yeah. Hopefully he has that command tonight.
Nomar, quick thought on how you approach Kevin Gausman, who also has a great split.
Well, I'm looking fastball because the split finger, and I'm going to have to look up. I'm going to have to trust that I can get on top of his fastball. If he's dotting that fastball low, he's going to be tough.
Hit the fastball.
Let's head out to Toronto. Middle game of this series, Dodgers and Blue Jays. Joe and Oral, guys, take it away.
Continues the Dodgers and the Blue Jays ready to play the middle game of this 3-game series inside Rogers Center. Thank goodness it is inside, because it is freezing cold outside. Dodger bats yesterday came to life in the first game of this series, really stayed alive with what they did in Washington. Carried it on here to Toronto, scored 14 runs on 17 hits. That included 5 more home runs, 2 of them from Dalton Rushing, who had a career game. The Dodgers now 4-0 on this road trip as we welcome inside Joe Davis and Orr Hershiser. Highly anticipated series, but it was a beatdown in Game 1.
Yeah, it was a beatdown, but it's going to be a bigger challenge for the Dodgers today with Gausman on the mound. It's going to be a bigger challenge for Gausman, not facing 2 weak teams. They're facing the Dodgers with hot bats.
And you teed up part of the pitching matchup. Kevin Gausman goes for the Blue Jays. Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers. An excellent matchup.
Well, they've seen these guys in more pressure back in the World Series in 2 games that they went head-to-head. But tonight, yeah, there's pressure on Gausman. Toronto looking to win. There's pressure on Yamamoto. Keep the winning streak going for the Dodgers side. But this guy did everything in the postseason. He was immaculate. He was a road warrior. He was there and relieved himself pretty much the next day without any rest. Yamamoto on his game. He is not throwing at this level yet, but he will be.
For more on Yoshinobu Yamamoto, down to Kirsten Watson.
Thanks, Joe. Well, for Yoshinobu, this is always going to be a very special place. Picking up 3 wins in the World Series, whether it was a start and relief, he was excellent. And he shared with us yesterday that for him being here, it does bring up a lot of positive memories. But his focus right now is on this start tonight in the 2026 season. He said in his last outing, he didn't feel like the stuff was in a bad place. He didn't feel like he was attacking the strike zone, but it was still a bit of a grind. So he does hope to move in the right direction today, guys.
Gosman, who didn't walk anybody his first 2 starts, begins this game with a 4-pitch walk to Ohtani.
You take the mound and you have to face Ohtani, and you're thinking, I just want to establish some pitches. I want to get some strikes, got to get my rhythm. It's kind of hard against that guy.
Yeah, you go to bed knowing you got to start tomorrow, but the first guy you're going to face, best of them all. Is 1-2 to Tucker. Tap back to him. His only play is at first, and there's the first out. Gosman was so close to being so good, but those 2 big swings from Will Smith and Max Muncy. Here's Lucas's throw to third as Ohtani tries to advance, and he's in there. And same thing, Game 6 of the World Series. Gosman was perfect in 5 of the 6 innings, but gave up 3 runs in the third, and he was facing Yamamoto in both of those. So that Game 6 is one that he'll think about for the rest of his life. Said it was the most excited that he's ever been for a game, knowing that he had a chance to pitch the Blue Jays to a World Championship, and then he just kind of trailed off. And rehashing that.
This guy's going to be here for a long time, pitching at a high level.
It is 1-2 to Springer, swung on and missed. Strike 3, got him with a slider, and he's already halfway to his strikeout total from his last start.
His zone percentage has been down. Location with the fastball and the cutter have been down. But the thing that has been outstanding, the splitter and the slider for sure.
Picks up right where he left off, striking out the first 2 Jays.
He got 0-2 counts on both of them and put them both away. This is the 2-seamer inside. He started him out, Varsho, with a fastball in, got the foul ball down the left field side, foul. And then he's tried to finish him off and lock him up inside, but got it by him with the movement.
Yamamoto strikes out the side in the first inning. 3 wins in the World Series here last year. 3 strikeouts in the first inning in his return. Springer, Varsho, Guerrero, good morning, good afternoon, good night. His 8th pitch to Lucas is a 3-2. Called strike 3. Cutter to the top of the zone to end the inning. A leadoff double, but he goes 1-2-3 after that. And already 4 strikeouts for Yamamoto. Dave Roberts is saying before the game, that's when this lineup really gets scary. Ohtani lifts a fly ball to right field. Lucas is going back. It's off the wall. Dodgers on the board first. Kimmin to score. Freeland to third. Shohei Ohtani with an RBI single. 1-0.
Shohei hit this like a 1-iron. He just went down and just dropped the head of the bat on it and just hits a screaming line drive without the double width fence. The height of this fence keeps it in the ballpark. If it's one of those 8-foot fences, it's out of here.
I'll put a hole in the fence.
You referenced the fact that the Dodgers have such preeminence in that division, how that might be a factor. Do you think the Dodgers' dominance is good or bad for baseball?
You can go either way with that. That's a good point, Buster. You can go either way with that. You can go with the idea that, it's always good to have that great team to fight with. Everybody recognizes how good they are. They're
the evil empire.
Season. So from that standpoint, it adds, the Yankee element, like in the, the late 90s Yankees. Everybody can root against them. So they're a polarizing team. Polarizing is good in sports because you want to have a team that you can hate. And then you're obviously going to have plenty of Dodger fans who love the team. So that's the one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is they got a $552 million payroll and the Marlins spend $70 million. How the hell are they supposed to compete with that? And you know that the Dodgers have so many advantages compared to, Blake Snell is going to make 8 starts. but then he's going to pitch game 2 of the playoffs because he's going to be raring to go. He doesn't have to pitch in the regular season, and he's going to be raring to go come October. Everybody else has got to pitch their pitchers 28, 30 starts. Time they get there October, they're worn out. It's a different situation. The Dodgers have such an advantage that they can use the regular season sort of as a feel-out process, as an exhibition process, that when they get to October, they can mix and match easily. Pitchers are not worn out. It gives them a huge advantage, which is kind of not fair. So you can look at it that way too. So either way you want to look at it, the owners are going to look at it the way I just mentioned. The players are going to look at it the former process. And that's one of the reasons why we got a major issue here once we get out of the season in 2027.
I asked Charles Barkley this question about Shohei Ohtani, about his standing all time as an athlete. I think he's the greatest baseball player we've ever seen. I don't think there's any question about it. As an athlete, where would you rank him among the Michael Jordans?
He's still not as good as Ruth. Ruth hit 700.
Really?
Ruth hit 55 homers a year, and everybody else was hitting 15. Ruth, if there was a DH in Ruth's day, he would have pitched and hit. He didn't have to stand out in right field, though. He had to stand out in if he pitched, he couldn't hit. It was a different situation. Plus, Ruth threw 325 innings a year. Ohtani makes, what has he got, 38 career wins?
If he pitches 155 innings, that would probably be a lot. To your point about how the Dodgers run their staff.
And Ruth had the World Series record of 29 consecutive innings before Whitey Ford broke it at 33, when Whitey broke it there in the 61 and 62 and 60. So I still are going to put Ruth. Now, I understand everybody brings up the idea that Ruth only did this for 4 or 5 years, and he never hit the 50 homers and won 15, 18 games. I get that. The only year that you can look at with Ruth where he pitched and he hit was the one year, I think he hit the 29 homers, was the one year and he pitched some. So I understand the argument, but Ruth won 94 games, 29 scoreless innings, had an ERA of 2. He was not a good pitcher. He was a great pitcher. Now, he didn't hit in those years, but there was no DH. So he couldn't DH the days he didn't pitch like Ohtani can. That's a huge advantage. So that's me with the old days. Now, as far as Ohtani as an all-time great athlete, I mean, he's a unicorn. I mean, I still think that the Jim Brown running back of the Browns, lacrosse.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan. I'm still going to put those other athletes ahead of Ohtani. It's a different feel when you talk about those, but I understand it. If you want to say from an athletic standpoint, Ohtani doing what he's doing cannot be matched, I understand. The one thing about Ohtani, Buster, we got to be fair about, he has not been great in the postseason. He's had great postseason games. Hit the 3 homers against Milwaukee, but he hasn't been great. He's had his games, but not his series in the postseason. Ruth had series where he dominated in the postseason.
Right.
So I'm going to go the Ruth angle. Most people won't. Ohtani is what he is. He's great for the sport. And the thing you love about Ohtani, here's the thing you like about Ohtani. He wants to win. He's more wrapped up in winning. Gave the Dodgers that great deferred contract. He's more wrapped up in that than he is making $800 million and just taking all the money and being the highest paid player. So from that standpoint, you got to really respect it. And he's good, and he's fun. He is the guy that ESPN cashes in on. Ohtani and Judge. Sports Illustrated cover story. Ohtani and Judge. From that standpoint, he's a tremendous asset for the sport.
今回も最後までご視聴いただき本当にありがとうございました。動画の内容を楽しんでいただけたでしょうか。もしよろしければチャンネル登録と高評価をお願いいたします。皆さんの応援が今後の動画制作の大きな励みになります。それではまた次回の動画でお会いしましょう。